basically my most important. I'm hearing echo. So my main question to you today is, if everything that Hashem, God, does is for the good because he is the ultimate goodness, how can we possibly see good in everything that is happening today? How can a war where people get killed be good or be seen as good?
Don't even try.
Hmm.
Just wait. The days of guessing are over. In the past, we had to guess, we had to philosophize, we had to dig to find the silver lining behind all the suffering and the tsaras. And today, just wait. We shall see. No guessing. In other words, God has to stop being so mysterious. He has to show it. We shouldn't be guessing. We shouldn't have to guess. So far, if we're looking for the good news, who is the hero in this whole event so far? Who is the world very impressed with?
No one.
With the Jewish president of Ukraine. That is so.
Oh,
Nobody in their wildest imagination would have ever predicted that there would be a Jewish president and that the world would respect him and support him. And it's like it's stranger than fiction. It's stranger than science fiction. Who else is going to be a hero in this whole thing? Expect surprises.
Rabbi Friedman, is the president of Ukraine the hero today? I mean, do we have one uniform opinion of who's the hero, who's the villain? Last week it was all the opposite. This week it's, I mean, can we keep up with this?
The world is supporting Ukraine overwhelmingly. Maybe because, you always support the underdog. You always support the victim against the aggressor, but it is amazing. The whole thing is so. It's not your typical bad guys being bad. There's something else going on here. And we shall see it. We don't need to guess.
There's so much more going on that meets the eye for sure. But the most important question that I have, as far as I know it, it is against the Torah for a Jewish president to be a president anywhere outside of the Jewish state, outside of Israel. Is that a correct statement? Or is it just not maybe good common sense? Maybe it's not against the Torah.
It's a little suicidal, but otherwise it's okay. No, there's nothing against it. But of all places, I mean, I remember being in Minnesota and having a Jewish senator elected to the Senate. In Minnesota, some article in a newspaper said Minnesotans elected a Jew in a state where there are more lakes than Jews. Who would expect that of all countries, that in the Ukraine they would have a Jewish president? That is so ridiculous. It's so absurd. The Ukrainian anti-Semitism is at the top, before Germany. And all of a sudden, of all the countries in the world, America doesn't have a Jewish president, but the Ukraine has? Come on, tell me this is not a dream. This is not reality. This is craziness.
It's a nightmare, I would say, actually. But
So, tell me,
Rabbi, yeah, I'm sorry.
what are you impressed with? What do you see
Uh,
in this whole mishigas?
I want more to be revealed, more truth to be revealed. This is what I'm sitting and waiting for. And
Yes.
I know that what is happening right now is revealing it, but at what cost? And Rabbi Friedman, I don't know. People are worried about sanctions. I'm more worried about the people. And I think most normal people are worried about the well being of the people who are at stake, and I just want to be able to say something comforting right now or find something comforting right now, so somehow the people can see that there's must be some good twist to it. We're limited. We don't understand what's going on. We don't see the full picture. But how can you tell a mother who sends her son off to war, where obviously there's real shooting going on and somebody might not come back? How do you tell them that eventually we'll see the good in all of this?
You don't. Until they can see it, you don't say it. You pray that they should be able to see it. But you don't offer shallow, empty words. They have to be able to see it. And that's why God has to show it. We can't keep explaining things for him. We can't keep covering for him. He's got to do it himself. But we have to be very confident that he will. Because in this time, the era that we live in, the mysteries are all disappearing one by one. They're not adding mysteries. Like you say, now it's a time of the truth coming out, not more mysteries. And how this is going to reveal the truth, I don't know. But I'm sure that within days it's going to happen.
Rabbi Friedman, God willing, because I don't know how much more of it people can take. I mean, it's one after another, and the thing is that reality changes within a day. And one day one guy is up, the next day the other guy is up. This is the good guy today. This is the good guy tomorrow, and the good guy who was there yesterday is now the worst guy. I mean, I remember our conversation last Tuesday. It's exactly today is the opposite of what was apparent exactly a week from today. um well, we were kind of saying that, Putin is looks like the good guy, but now he looks like the biggest villain on earth. Well, I was saying that I'll I'll take it all. But nobody thought that he will ever start a war, and yet the war started. And now we have even a bigger threat that we're facing with. And can we for certain say that it's not going to happen? And that's, God forbid, a nuclear war, which is being threatened at the moment. And how should we react? How should we, think about that? Should we say disregard it like we try to disregard, what happened between Russia and Ukraine, what is happening? Or is it something that we should take more to heart? And I don't know. I don't know.
It's not logical or sensible to anticipate craziness. You don't do that because that makes you crazy. So we were right to not think there was going to be a war because that was the sensible thing. Craziness is totally unpredictable and we shouldn't try. You can't be prepared for craziness because then you become part of the crazy. Then we've given up on sanity altogether. So we have to stay positive and we have to continue to think that people are not that crazy. Like, could anybody have predicted or anticipated a Holocaust, crematorium, Anybody who thought there was going to be crematorium has a very disturbed mind. Once it happens, okay, now we know. But somebody should have thought that people were going to be burnt in ovens. You can't do that. You can't make the absurd and the insane normal. So the best thing we can do now is to add another mitzvah, another goodness, another kindness, because we're not giving up on what's right and what's true and what's good. On the contrary, the more the world wants to be crazy, the more we resist. So, not pursuing morality, goodness, kindness, justice, and everything, not pursuing it is surrender. We're not surrendering. Can't surrender. So as the world shows its darkness, we have to show its brightness. So if men will put on tefillin, if women will light Shabbos candles, if we will make our kitchen a little more kosher, put a mezuzah on the door, bring in the brightness. Because the darkness can't win. It can't win. It can hurt, but it can't win.
Rabbi Friedman, it seems like what you've been saying all along about charity is actually what is happening the most right now. Everybody is activating all charities possible to help because, if a week ago we weren't 100% sure where we're giving to, what we're giving for, now the cause is extremely there, apparent, and identifiable. Um,
I just
how should people?
heard a story that the rabbi in Kharkiv was in the middle of a meal or in the middle of a program, and a man came running in, all panicked. He said, I have to leave the city. I have to escape. And I have no gas in my car. And there's no gas available. The rabbi immediately, the shliach, the Chabad rabbi, immediately handed the keys to his car to the man and said, my car is gassed up. It's full. Take it and go. And the man said, but what about you? He said, what about me? You go. The man took the car and left. The kindness, I mean, if that's not called charity, that is the ultimate charity. And that's why we need to be very confident. The goodness, the blossoming of Judaism in Ukraine, in all the world, in the former Soviet states, it never happens where Judaism is blossoming and it all goes bad. That never happens. So if you see Judaism improving, that means the world is improving. And again, we talked about this a number of times. If you want to know whether the world is getting better, don't look at the hospitals or at the military. Look at the morality. So the world may not be healthier today than it was yesterday. The question is it better? Is the morality increasing? And it is. It is. People are so intolerant of this war.
Rabbi Friedman, we spoke about this too a number of times. And we said a number of times that in this day and age, a war should not happen. Nobody wants a war, yet the war is happening. Why? If nobody wants it, why is it happening?
Well, obviously, somebody wants it. It's not being forced on them. Somebody wants it. And that somebody has got to prove to the world that it's over. Wars are just not, they're not acceptable anymore. And I'm sure that this is going to happen. This has made the world so aware of the intolerance and the non-acceptability of war that it should be forever dismissed from even the realm of possibility. And that's what the prophet said. They will beat their swords into plowshares, which means we still have swords, which are intended to kill. And those swords have to be beaten into plowshares. So again, the president called on the Russian soldiers to put down the guns. There's no need for this. Okay, so if they all put down their guns, what are they going to do with the guns? Got to do something with them. But we're on the verge of this. That prophecy, that ultimate hope for mankind, is it written on the wall of the UN? Yeah, they will beat their.
Don't know.
Yeah. So many things have become revealed, like you say, the truth coming out. The Geneva Convention with its silly laws is failing. The UN is a failure. A poll that they did recently, do you trust your doctor and do you trust hospitals? Do you trust scientists? Everything is coming out. Everything. So
There's another thing. Yeah. There's another thing that people seem to be completely in agreement on, is that nothing will be good without the hand of God. And everybody says that the thing to do is to pray. And this is the only weapon of choice and that people have. And everybody is saying it. The politicians, the oligarchs, the common people, which I don't want to say the word common people, the people, period. That's what everybody is saying. This seems to be one common denominator that people have an agreement, which is, I don't know, has this ever happened before?
I'm sure it has. And prayer is always a wonderful thing. But better than prayer is action. Don't pray to God, serve God. Help him make the world better. Of course, it's up to him. But we're not passive partners, we're active partners. So actually doing a mitzvah is more powerful than praying. Prayer is good for the soul. The mitzvah is good for the world. In today's parsha, the Torah enumerates all the things that the Jews did to build the Mishkan. The previous portion is where God tells the Jews how to build a Mishkan. Then the next parsha says, and they did. They made the ark, and they made the table, and they made the menorah, and they built the walls, and they built everything. So first we're told that we should do it. Then it's recorded that we did it. But then it says, and they brought all of the things that the people made, all with the furniture and all the necessities, they brought it to Moshe. They brought it to Moshe. They're the builders, they're the makers, they're the weavers, they're the craftsmen. What did they bring it to Moshe? It's like like IKEA. Here's your Mishkan, assembly required. So the Gemara says no one could put it up. The beams of the wall were too heavy. No one could put it up. And the skins that covered the Mishkan, they were huge, made of heavy material. No one could drape it over the Mishkan except Moshe. So they brought it to Moshe. And Moshe turned to God and said, I can't do this either. So God said, you make believe you're doing it, and I'll make it happen. So what does that mean? If God is going to make it happen, why does Moshe have to make believe he's doing it? If it's up to God, let God do it. And what are you trying to fool people by making believe you're putting it up? Why are you trying to fool people? It wasn't fake. It was puny. Moshe's effort was like not nearly enough to make it happen. But he put in effort, knowing that really God is doing it. But I have to participate. So it was like he made believe. He did what he could. He lifted the beams, he stood them up. Could he do it without God, a miracle? No. But you don't stand back and let God do it by himself. So we need to participate. So if you give a little tzedakah in your own town, wherever you happen to live, it's not going to support the Ukrainian army, and it's not going to discourage Putin from his crazy ideas. But it'll make a tiny difference. And that's all God asks. You make a tiny difference, I'll make a big difference. But we do make a difference.
Rabbi Friedman, there are things happening that are not making it into the news. A lot of things are not making it into the news, actually. But one thing is what is happening to the people. Unfortunately, on one hand, the Ukrainian people are united and patriotic, and of course are, more behind their president, more united with each other. But on the other hand, since a lot of people have left their homes and had to evacuate, there's looting that is not being reported. And I know it from people who are actually still there, who are not able to leave, and they're saying it's something awful. So, I mean, people leave their apartments and they're being completely emptied out. People are getting attacked on the streets in their cars. What is happening? Why such a tremendous split in people when something bad happens? Some people are becoming united and helping each other, and other people are just creating havoc.
That's pretty typical of war. It's a free for all, and everybody wants to take advantage. But the question is, what happens after? Will there be law, or will there be lawless? How it's going to end is the big question. Will all of that be excused and tolerated and just go on? Will it be corrected? Will it be enforced? Will people have to pay or replace or return what they took? This is the big question. So that it can happen, it's been happening throughout history. The news is, are we going to treat it differently? Our morality is being tested. And I think we're going to do good. People are in the mood for goodness.
Very much so. But the fear.
So we're not just hoping for peace. That we've had that so many times. You have a war, you make peace. Another war, you make peace. We don't want just peace. We want a vast improvement. We wanted that in terms of business. The business world, the economic world has got to become more moral. Don't want to go back to the old rat race, which is such an ugly term. Schools have to reinvent themselves. We don't want schools that bore students and make them go to parties and get drunk every night. Everything has to be now. The world of law and order has to reinvent itself. It has not been healthy for a very long time. It gave the appearance. It looked like there was law and order, but it was so shallow. It was so thin layer of decency. Now it's got to become deep and real and permanent. I think we're ready for that.
Rabbi Friedman, what would you advise the people who are our community in the United States, that of course is very, very split right now, um, amongst what's going on? There are some people who are actually maybe even supporting this, and there are some people who are petrified of what's going on. And of course, it's something that's creating a rip between people. What would you suggest for just our community here in the United States? What words of wisdom would you give our community in regards to how to react and how to treat this, since we're kind of a little bit on the outskirts, but yet, our souls and hearts are with the ones who are over there?
What's different in this particular scenario, whenever there was a war, we prayed for peace. That's not good enough today. Today we should be praying that the world should realize that we are living in very special times. The world is like what is the word on the computer? It's rebooting itself. It's rearranging itself from all of its bad habits, and there are so many. So yeah, it's going to be a chaotic, like the Medrash predicts, that before the coming of Mashiach, everyone will be concerned and won't know where to go, which way to go. That's a perfect description of our times exactly today. Don't know which way to go. More fighting, less fighting. What are we supposed to do? And all of it is because the world is readjusting, recalculating. And it's scary. It's confusing. It's undermining the little bit of sanity or security or stability that we once had or thought we had. So we need to be very, very strong and stubborn in our focus. Don't get distracted. The world is becoming better. It must become better. We're not going to let it. We're not going to accept anything less. It has to become better. And better means radically better because it's been radically bad. So what should we be thinking? What should we be feeling? We are living in unusual times. Not unusually terrible times. That's a mistake. We're not living in terrible times. It seems that way because we don't know which way to go. But if you know which way to go, we're living in very good times. Goodness is taking over the world. That there are still bad people and bad things, and the goodness has to penetrate. It can't just be another layer on top of all the evil, sweep it all under the carpet and the carpet looks good. This has to be thorough. It's like the 10 plagues in Egypt. We have to always compare the coming of Mashiach to the leaving of Egypt, the exodus from Egypt. 9 plagues. Why? Why not one big one? More efficient, happens quicker. Yeah. Drop the big bomb and it's all over. Egypt had to become better internally. It had to penetrate. It had to become real, not a coding of goodness. So in order for the goodness before Mashiach, in order for that goodness to be real, it has to penetrate into the darkest, worst, most evil heart, most evil intention, most evil thinking. And there it has to bring about a change. So just killing the bad guys? I just recently heard about a healing process that can help people with addictions. It's a energy healing. It's a little spiritual, whatever it is. But they say it works fantastically. Just one warning. When it heals you of your addiction, you're never going to enjoy that again. In other words, if you're an alcoholic, it will heal you of your desire for alcohol to such a degree you'll never enjoy another drink. That pleasure area will disappear. So we were talking about whether that's kosher. If you have some way of killing all passion for adultery, would that be a good thing according to the Torah? You take a pill and the passion for adultery is gone. Is
I
that,
believe not.
you would go for it?
No, 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 no.
It's not a good thing.
I don't. No, no. There's not going to be a drive for the healthy portion of it.
Oh. Let's say we could isolate it. Is this how you fight a Yetzer Hara? This is how you make evil better? By taking a pill? I don't know. Is that like a shortcut that isn't supposed to happen? We're supposed to have a passion and we're supposed to deal with it so that the morality is stronger than the passion. But you kill the passion? What have you accomplished? Why was the passion there in the first place? So we have a debate about this. Is it okay to just kill your evil inclination, or do you have to thoroughly transform it? So that's what we're talking about now. The goodness of Mashiach has to permeate. It has to dig in very deep into every evil place. And that's why the evil has to show itself. So wherever there are harmful, evil intentions lurking in somebody's heart, it's got to come out. Because the goodness has to replace it, displace it. So in the end, obviously the ideal picture is, in the end, the worst of the worst will do tshuva and become the best of the best. Not just get killed. That we've been doing for thousands of years. Just kill the bad guy, kill the bad guy. It's not good enough.
Hard to imagine at the moment.
Yes.
Rabbi Friedman,
But inevitable.
God willing. Rabbi Friedman, in your opinion, is Putin a madman, or there is possibly some good that we just can't see or know at the moment, that he is maybe fighting for something good? It just looks bad. I mean, is there a chance for that?
There is a chance, but that's up to him. Nobody can make it for him, and nobody can justify it for him. He has to do it. Otherwise, it's not what we're looking for. It's not a transformation. So just defeating him, that would be such a waste of lives, a waste of time, a waste of so much suffering just so that he should be defeated. Not good enough. It's like Trump saying we're going to build a wall and Mexico is going to pay for it. Not enough to build a wall. Mexico has to pay for it. So if if this thing ends and Putin pays for the damage he could, that would be something. But if you just kill him, so there'll be another one.
Amazing.
So let's not pray for his death. Let's pray for his transformation. Because can he be good? Can godliness penetrate into such evil places? Well, if you don't believe it can, then you don't believe in anything.
Let's believe. I vote. Let's believe. Rabbi Friedman, we have about 2 minutes left, unfortunately, and we're approaching, again, the happiest month. Hopefully, everybody will find strength within themselves to be happy, find happiness, spread happiness, and please just leave us with a few words of wisdom before we end today's very difficult program during very, very difficult times.
Purim is coming, and there are certain mitzvahs you're supposed to do on Purim. And some of them need a little preparation. So let's start making preparations for a very happy, healthy Purim. What do you do on Purim? You share food with your friends, with your neighbors, at least one person. You give tzedakah to at least 2 poor people. You hear the Megillah read twice, the night of Purim and the day of Purim. And you have a special Purim meal. If you need to prepare for these things, we'll start now, because we're going to have a very happy Purim. The food you're going to share, of course, has to be kosher. The food you receive, you got to check to make sure it's kosher. But the idea is we share food. There's no greater closeness than that. If you eat in my house and I eat in your house, that's a bond. It's more than just polite. And we need that. We need so much this closeness, the oneness, the feeling comfortable with each other, recognizing how we need each other, not out of desperation, out of decency. A decent person needs people just to be decent. So the more we appreciate that and the better we prepare for Purim, the sooner all of this is going to clear up so that Purim will be the happiest ever. And to not believe that is to feed the darkness. Don't want to do that.
Rabbi Friedman, thank you so much for these wonderful words of wisdom, and as always, positivity and optimism, even in the darkest times of our lives. And unfortunately, who could ever possibly think or guess that this will be our reality now? So, but thank you.
Never said being happy is easy.
But we still must.
Yeah. Must.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Friedman. This is, as always, absolutely your time spent with us is priceless, very needed, and we can't be more grateful to you for allocating this time to us. Thank you so much. Hopefully, we will have real reality to be happy about very, very soon. Not just effort and...
Yeah. Don't just hope for it, expect it. It's not just a possibility. We're in the process. It's just a question of how much longer will it take for the machinery to do its job? They say, what is it? Justice moves slowly, or politics moves slowly. So if it would hurry up a little bit would be good. But there's no question that it's coming. You don't have to have a leap of faith because
Amen.
that means that it's not realistic. This is realistic. The
God willing.
goodness that is coming is realistic,
And the sooner the better.
and the sooner
Again,
the better.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, Rabbi Friedman. So looking forward to more of wisdom and positivity that you bring to us, and hopefully everything that we speak about is going to become real very, very soon. Thank you so much.